How are you liking the material so far? Is it too much, too little? You like it? Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. Okay, and it's some of my most precious things that I have to share for third eye activation and astral travel. Okay, we're going to move on to the next portion of the class. We'll be spending about 30 to 40 minutes on this portion since we spent so much time on the material, and then we'll close it up. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling people on screen, but first I have to find hold on, that portion of the screen that tells me who is wanting to come on. Let's pull on Brian Mirabella, please. And while we're doing that, I'll start looking at the questions and answers. Please tell me, let's see, this is Eva. Please tell me, so if I'm clairvoyant, well, it's there in you, Eva, but it's, you need to activate it further is what I would best. For you, I'd say focus on meditation and lucid dreaming first. And then she's saying, should I focus on any other abilities like prophecy, healing, and dreams? Dreams, definitely. Prophecy next, healing finally, in that order for you is what I'm perceiving. Okay, let's pull Brian on. Hold on. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Pamela.
How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. How are you?
Good. Oh, look, you're with Brandon.
Yes.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good, good, good. How can I help you?
I actually had a question. Something about the symbols. So when we're meditating with the symbols, should we meditate on the symbols that you mentioned first before the elements, and then go on to the elements after that?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I put them in that order. You get used to just asking to be the communicator and then the receiver and then subligation and manifesting. You get used to them in that order first because it's pulling you into getting used to the higher symbols. So these are simple symbols. You got to ask for permission by being the communicator and the receiver first.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Archangel Azrael stuff there.
so before we even do that, do you recommend we practice all the things? Like, should we practice all these things in the order that you gave them in the class? So
Yes.
like, okay, so like we would try to practice the eye focusing, you know,
Yeah.
trying to see the auras on like the skyline first before.
Yeah, in my opinion, you start with the basics, but it's helpful also whenever you can pull in these symbols during the portions of the material where I said you can use the symbols during this specific technique, you can use the symbols in those techniques.
Okay.
But yeah, start with the basics.
Do you have any questions?
Maybe one simple one. What about the pitch of the mantras? What I seem to have a deep voice when I chant. What if I can't hit the pitch?
If you can't hit the pitch, say in the A, just make it like lower and lower it. You don't have to hit the exact pitch because everyone has a different vocal range. I'm glad that you asked that question. It's an excellent question. So people aren't a natural soprano. You're not a natural soprano, I don't think, are you, Brian? So you just do what will fit for you because you are a unique individual and it's the visualization. Your tones don't matter as much as you're doing what you can for you in your own vocal range.
Okay. Great.
So, all right, I have one more question. So, when we're doing the self-inquiry, and we are asking for the spirit school or spirit class, do you think that is going to be like helpful if we don't really know how to yet get in the hypnagogic state without falling asleep? Like, because sometimes when I do the hypnagogic state, I always fall asleep during it. So
if you have a problem doing self-inquiry in the hypnagogic state, then just do it when you're meditating, like in the beginning stages of meditation, as opposed to trying to get in the hypnagogic state. Okay. You'll eventually get there without falling asleep. The more you can meditate, you'll get there. And if you can't do it when you meditate, just do it throughout your day in any quiet zone. Like if you're working and you have to go to the bathroom, that 5 minutes you do a self-inquiry exercise when you're on the loo.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, I'm going to move on to a question from the question and answers section for a moment. My friend saw a huge 20-inch diameter emerald green aura around my body on 3 separate occasions while at the beach. Is there anything you can share with me about this? If it was 20 inches away from your body, with the auric field, anywhere from a few centimeters to 3 inches away is the live color. Normally what most people will begin to see is either a transitional color, which is huge, by the way. Transitional colors happen right in front of the face, and they cover every other color. You will not see anything if you see a transitional color. It look like the person just turned into a grape. So essentially speaking, she was either seeing a green transitional color because green represents restoration and healing during a specific transition, or she was seeing your secondary color. Secondary colors are the ones that go way out there as well. So if she sees it, but it looks kind of like just over here, or just over here, or just a blob over here that's going 20 feet out, that's probably a secondary color. But if the entire thing was green and nothing but green, she was seeing a transitional color. Okay, let's pull someone on screen. Let's go for Marie Ryan, please. And in the meantime, I'll answer another question in the question and answer section. How does the quintessence of light fit into this? And why have several of my guides repeatedly spoken of this symbol's importance? For you, that is a specific symbol for you. So if you, Levi, knowing you, I can answer this. And for those of you who have strong alchemy backgrounds in your past lifetimes like he does, you will get the quintessence of light as this ancient alchemy symbol, because that is the one that you should use first. So if you're getting that as being relevant, then put this material aside and use the symbol that feels most relevant to you. This is a guideline because many of you are from my same soul group who are here, so it will activate you specifically. And many more people who I don't know who are from that soul group. I'm not from an uncommon soul group. The raw soul group is really a big one here. So basically speaking, go with what is relevant to you. Put the symbols aside and go with what's relevant to you. Let's see, let's take Marie. We got 2 people waiting because we double clicked, but we'll take Marie right now. Hi, Marie.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Hi. Can you see? Very good. I just have a quick question. You mentioned at the beginning. You had mentioned that I Love seminar you're going to be going to in the beginning of August. Where is that located on the internet where you can find information on that? I'm sorry to bring that up.
Oh yeah, it's campiamlove.com. And we still have tickets left. Yeah. campiamlove.com.
Because I haven't been able to find it. campiamlove.com. I just have one question on all these classes. Basically, as far as diet, what is the best diet to follow? Do you have any specific things to maybe enhance our abilities and things like that?
Okay. First of all, I need to preface that by giving a little gentle disclaimer, for medical reasons, that your diet should be between you and your holistic practitioner, or if you're under the care of any doctor, you know what I'm going to say, because I have to, medical reasons. Secondly, if you can,
yes, I understand.
Yeah, I know. I just have to say that. But optimally speaking, for those of you from the Raw Soul group, there in my soul family, and for those of you who are also just trying to activate third eye as a whole, vegetarian, vegan, and when it aligns to you, and I say this very cautiously, when it aligns to you, moments of fasting or breatharian is absolutely optimal. Now, breatharian is an interesting thing. I don't want to fully advocate for it yet because I am not a breatharian. So it is an interesting thing, though. I am experimenting with it. It's producing phenomenal results. And like right when I think that I'm fully awake, I fast for long periods of time. And during those times of a breatharian practices, amazing results. But my disclaimer to you is if you're going to try breatharian techniques, do your research on it and realize that you have to detox. So detox with some bentonite clay, sacred clay. Those are kind of in either of those. I really love Redmond clay. That's my specific high frequency brand that I love. Detox with that along with some diatomaceous earth and colloidal silver every day for 30 days and gently acclimate into it if you're going to do it, because you cannot be a breatharian without detoxing your body. I'm learning that the hard way in my experiments with breatharianism.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
right.
let me.
Very, very much.
We'll
Love the class.
thank you. We'll take Melinda in a second, but I'm going to go towards another question from the Q&A. In the last week, I have woken up twice seeing numbers on the ceiling. Is this the opening of the third eye? Yes, that is something that so many of my students tell me, and I used to see numbers and symbols on my ceiling and all over my walls, particularly at night. I'd wake up and I'd see bright lights and symbols, or if I was meditating, I would come out of the meditation and see symbols. I would see symbols in my meditation. Those are your specific soul symbols. If you see them, duplicate them, write them down, learn how to draw them, and visualize them repeatedly. Yes, that is a sign that your third eye is opening, and is also a sign that you are, and possibly have been in many other lifetimes, one of the original alchemists. Let's take Melinda. Hi, Melinda.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I want to thank you first for all your classes and all your hard work.
Thank you.
My question is, since I found out I was an empath, I've tried to figure out how to read auras and see them. But is it maybe that I have a built-in sensor instead of seeing them, that I sense them instead of seeing them? Is that possible?
If you are predominantly an empath, as I was discussing in the beginning of the class, don't be afraid if another sense comes first. That's normal. So you have to master that sense and understand that you will feel more than you will see at first. And usually the utilization of these symbols will wake that up, though.
For example, like some people I come across, it's like they're so toxic I can't even be in the same space of them. Is that me reading them? Is that me reading their aura? Is that what I'm doing?
I call that empathy ping pong. So basically what you're doing is you are feeling something that's coming in your direction, and basically what is triggering something in you that ping pongs it back to them. They get more uncomfortable, and then you are exchanging energy, kind of like you're in a cesspool of empathy yuckiness.
Yeah. It's like I can't even speak to them.
Oh, yeah. And when you get that way, it might be really, really good not to become a recluse. You got to walk through it and towards it as opposed to running away from it. But definitely spend some time with yourself. Spend some time with self-love techniques. Spend some time sort of going into self-inquiry. Read the middle chapters, the self-inquiry chapters of Be As You Are by Ramana Maharshi, and practice it on yourself. Any healing you can do on your heart center is really important during those times. Any inner child work is really important during those times. Being really personally and spiritually accountable for your inner child is what's going to help you get better with empathy.
Okay. My second question is, sometimes I feel like sensations in my hand, and I have read that you have palm chakras, and that seems to be the strongest in me. Is that part of the healing, or is that part of sensing auras?
It's both. I feel like you sense auras and you can heal when you come through with activation of that. That is a part of your purpose and your mission as an activator. This will open, and then it'll activate things in you, and then activate things in other people that heal them. So when you have that going on, when your fingertip chakras are open, you can actually use codes with your fingertips by visualizing the codes coming from your hands, and breathe and visualize a code is over here, a code is over here. Or if you're more right-handed with your healing or more left, just use that one. And breathe that air out of your hands, exhale from your hands while visualizing a code coming out of your hands into the person. And you'll find that it floats into them. It floats into their chakra system and just kind of implants where it needs to. It's an amazing thing.
Well, sometimes I do it just when I'm just sitting outside, it just happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
it does.
Nobody's even there but me.
Sun activates it, wind elements. These are the elements that are activating the activator codes in you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, let's take another question and answer. Is my third eye open if I see sharp blue lights like a star when I close my eyes? Yes, people see those blue lights all the time, and you are seeing through the ether. When you close your eyes, the blue dots and the blue lights that look like teeny tiny little stars are the first things that people see in their inner vision. in their inner clairvoyance when they are meditating or trying to focus on opening the third eye. So you're seeing the ether with your eyes closed, and the cones and rods in your eyes can only interpret what you're seeing as blue, because blue, purple, violet, and indigo are common to the human eye knowingness. So basically your eyes will just turn everything blue. For those of you who are seeing the blue stars, that's what's going on. The cones and rods in your eyes are not adjusted yet. Okay. Okay, let's take another person on screen, and while we're doing that, I'll answer another question from the Q&A. Let's take Cher Odell, and let me take another question in the meantime. I have been experiencing a pulling sensation over my third eye for about 10 years, and sometimes it's really strong, but then nothing happens beyond it. Yeah, that pulling sensation is that when you get that, stop, meditate, breathe in, and focus here, letting the breath come into the third eye, and then exhaling from the crown. That's your cue to stop what you're doing and focus on your third eye. Next part of the question, is my third eye opening or is something else happening to me? No, this is your guides trying to get your attention to focus on your third eye right then and there. Because remember, the most dominant portions of opening the third eye occur in the now. Okay, let's talk to Cher now.
Hey, so
Hi.
I also wrote a question in the Q&A. My son, sorry.
That's okay, you can let that out. It's just this part of the class is not set in recording, so you're good.
My son passed a few years ago. And a few months after he passed, I could see another spirit of another man, and helped him communicate to his wife. And I could also hear my grandmother speak as clear as day. And then that left. So I want to be able to access that to help other people and help in my healing work.
Okay.
Something that's blocking me, something I need to focus on, something.
When did your son go? You got a lot of grief still, which is okay.
It's been about 2.5 years.
That's not long.
He was a twin soul. He is.
It's so hard with the twins, especially if you lose them. It just completely causes like a shield of grief to kind of make it harder to connect. You have that one moment. So what you need to do when you have that one moment, chances are, if you can connect that strongly to someone after they pass, and it's so beautiful like that, you are a medium. And they're trying to activate your mediumship capabilities. So what you need to do is connect to them more often and use all these techniques and just jump right into it. And don't say, I want to help other people heal. Mm-hmm. Just start helping other people, start practicing. When I started deciding that I wanted to be a medium, it kind of happened. I just said, yeah, I want to do this. I want to help other people. And then I was like 20 when I started feeling this way. And my granddad passed when I was 14. Now, I've always been seeing people, but I really connected to my granddad. I was really close to him because he was part of my Native American tribe. And he basically initiated me into everything that I know, including shamanism. So when he passed, I was heartbroken. But I saw this big, like bigger than normal, not just any frequency of being that would come to me. When he came to me, it was a big activation. And I said, oh, I want to do this. And he was like, well, why aren't you doing it? It was that simple. So I started just kind of being a medium to my friends at school would lose loved ones. And I'm like, I want to their loved one and give them a message, and felt intrusive at the time, but because I barely knew some of these friends, but I did it anyway. You've got to get the courage to just do, as opposed to saying, I want to start.
He came to me for about 2 or 3 months afterwards. I could see him, interact with them, all good. Yeah. And he still does come, but he's further away. So he comes in other ways. And we talk all the time. Yeah. But is there something blocking me? Is there something that I need to focus on?
Sometimes your grief alone will still be the block for that, but sometimes it is the fact that you don't need to see and have those powerful experiences because they are you and you are them, and it's just like talking to a best friend, and you don't, your friend talks on the phone, you don't need to see them, you know what I mean? You know they're on the phone, you know they're there, you know? It's like he's in your heart, and the more they interact.
Well, it's not connecting with him, although that would be great, but I also want to connect just with, all these other spirits that might be there waiting for me.
Yeah, it's harder to connect to other spirits if you're a natural medium. It's easier with your loved ones than it is with people
Okay.
you don't know. So that's why I was saying go ahead and practice.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, get out there, start talking to strangers. And if you're sensing something, just you'll have a feeling and you'll go up
Yeah.
and start talking to them. I know it's really uncomfortable, but you need to start practicing it. It's mediumship is like getting on a bicycle, and just the more you practice riding the bicycle, the better you get.
Okay.
If you stop, it becomes a little rusty.
You don't see anything in particular that maybe I should be focusing on, like I would be better at, or I should be working?
I think you're clairvoyant. I think you need to utilize these symbols. I think you're
Okay.
primarily clairvoyant and empathic.
Okay.
So utilize these
Okay.
symbols and just keep connecting to your heart center. I would read Whatever Arises, Love That by Matt Kahn and open up your inner child and start with more self-love, because I'm seeing a little bit of a blockage in the heart chakra that you could open up with more self-love and nurturing practices.
Perfect.
And from that, the clairvoyance is going to get stronger as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's take another question from Q&A. What frequency of binaural beats is best for the third eye? You know, guys, there's not one. For me and for many people who are in our specific soul group here today, it is 936 and 369. They're very, very good. But if you try that and it doesn't work for you, try any of the frequencies that are in the flow of the I Am process, which is listed on my YouTube channel under the spiritual development playlist. That channel, that particular process was channeled by Nikola Tesla a long time ago. And each of those frequencies, activate through 11 different dimensions. And all of those dimensions have activations that are very unique, and one of those will work for you. So try them. Again, the flow of the I Am frequencies, they are on my YouTube channel, and they are under the spiritual development section, that playlist. Okay, let's take Grazia Johnson on, and in the meantime, I'll answer another question from Q&A. What is the difference between being asleep and awake? I see and hear a lot. How can I bring through more of this information I get from this dimension when I'm awake? You're not asleep. In that particular instance, you are already awake, but there's a difference between being awake and being aware. So basically, if you read the fullness of that book, there are many different books I can advise you for this, particularly Be As You Are by Ramana Maharshi. Read the whole thing if you want to become aware. The difference between awake and aware is losing non-dualism and being able to operate without duality in all of your life. Because when you begin to segregate your life, say when you're asleep and you're like, yeah, I'm connected, I'm meditated, yeah, I'm connected, I'm in a spiritual retreat, yeah, I'm connected. But what about when you're, at your desk job? What about when you're on the bus? What about when you're dealing with a nasty in-law? What about when a neighbor's screaming at you? What about in interactions with a belligerent teenager? Many, many things. So basically speaking, you need to integrate the higher planes in your life. And that is why in the beginning of this class, I used the two different phrases of self-inquiry for me personally. Go back to that portion of the recording and use those all the time. So what is in my highest and best in this moment is one of them. Remember that. And I'm so tired at this point in the class. Just go through the recording. There were two. And I don't use the second one very often. Someone can type it in if they remember. But one of them was what is in my highest and best. Let's see. Answered that question. So we'll talk to Gracia now.
Hi.
Hi, kiddo.
How are you?
That beautiful kiddo.
This is Valentina.
Hi, Valentina.
So, I have many questions, but when I go into my third eye, I often see yellow with black triangle. I see the eye a lot, but I see a lot of dots, a lot of colors at all times. All the time. So what does yellow mean? What is, like, when you see different color, does it mean different things?
No.
Not at all. Okay.
No. Different beings produce different energy fields, and it doesn't mean anything much. Unlike unless you're seeing yellow in a full auric form or you're seeing yellow in the chakra system, unless you're seeing yellow around a human or third dimensional being, it doesn't have specific meaning.
Okay.
If you're just seeing yellow in the ether, it just means that's that specific being's frequency. The cones and rods in your eyes may or may not be able to adjust to a color that you are aware of in your brain. Therefore,
That's what I was thinking too.
To you.
Yeah.
That's why we see dot things like that. We just aren't acclimated.
So I wanted to try something with you. No one has done it yet, but can we practice a mantra together?
Sure. Which one?
Let's do the solar one.
Hang on. Oh, that's a hard one. You had to pick the Eye of Alchemy. That's the hardest one.
I know.
So how are you perceiving that?
What's that?
How are you wanting just to chant it? Show me what you got.
Okay, hold on. Can you do it once and then I'll do it?
It's Ram.
Ram.
Mm-hmm. Ram. R-A-M.
Ram. Okay. So I'm gonna go to this. Almost.
So in between the re and the ram, you're going to say the R again. So it's ram.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was very helpful. I love doing them, and I get all emotional when I do them. It just feels like
that means it's working.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to another question.
Okay, Valentina, want to come do it with me?
In meditation, I seem to quickly feel out of body and get cold hands and arms, see beings across my path with eyes closed, and sometimes I feel my body being taken over, if that's the right word. My tongue and body don't feel like me always. Is this normal and okay? Yes, you are a physical medium. I believe that you, Melina, were in my mediumship course. If not, let me know and we'll see if we can get you some copies of it. But yeah, you probably need to take a peek at part 1 or go back to your recording on part 1 where we were talking about what physical mediumship is. They literally will come into your body if you're a physical medium. And yes, you will feel cold, getting the chills, all that is a part of physical mediumship, and it is quite normal. Okay, let's take another person. Let's take Jessica while I'm answering a question from Tracy. Hi, Pamela. What will happen if we have throat chakra problems? How will this impact on one's ability to open the crown chakra and third eye? What happens is you can't chant, for one. It's a big problem. I have to do it in your head. And then secondly, what happens is when you have throat chakra issues, you don't connect from here on your throat chakra to here in your third eye. There's just a blockage of energy from here to here, which means you're not speaking your truth. Energy isn't going up. You're not honoring yourself when you don't have an open throat chakra. I am particularly bad at this, keeping my throat chakra open. It is like my weakest link, even though I love chanting. So basically speaking, when it's strong, it's strong. When it's weak, it's gone. So what you need to do is more of an emotional thing. For those of you who are strongly empathic, like me, it's hard for the empath. And I know Tracy, because I know you are an empath predominantly. So what's happening is you are over-sacrificing. You are operating in the core belief of I'm accountable too much. And essentially speaking, you're not honoring your truth as much. So work on that. Boundaries process by Yeshua underneath the processes section of my blog will help you a lot with that. I'll go ahead and talk to Jessica now. Hi, Jess.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So
Hi.
I guess I put my question in the chat, but I don't know if we somehow missed it. But like when I am in that hypnagogic state every night, pretty much, I get bombarded by like faces of like mostly people, but then aliens and all sorts of beings. And I can never really get them to like stay around long enough. And I don't know if they're who they are, what they are, like what, and I'm always fascinated by that, but I don't know.
Are you asking them who they are and what they are?
They're gone before I have a chance to. They just come so quick.
Oh, yeah. You can try to slow that down, and these symbols do that. When you start teaching Particularly these two symbols here. Let me remind you. Hang on a second. It is, you've got this going on, but the receiver symbol, you use that in the midst of that particular instance. You guys can use these symbols in the midst of those instances. The receiver symbol is really good when you just want to be like, hey, who the heck are you?
There are always just like so many of them. It's crazy. So I definitely like don't know.
It slows things down to where you get to receive information that's relevant. Use that symbol.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me take another question from Q&A. Stacy asked, how can we keep ourselves from getting too excited when lucid dreaming so we don't wake up? Yeah, me too. Basically speaking, what you can do is contain and try to get during that lucid dreaming state. You can use a specific symbol, okay? This is called the manifester or manifestation. So in this symbol, you want to visualize it, pull it into your lucid dream, and basically be like, okay, I am manifesting the continuation of this experience. But the more you focus on that as the manifester, you can stay put right where you are. You know, just pull it out and say, yeah, this is good. I'm not ready to wake up. So manifest your own staying experience. Okay, let's pull another person on screen. Let's go with Inez while I take another from the Q&A. What kind of physical symptoms would we experience when our third and/or third eye chakra open? Oh my goodness, when they first start to open, you'll get a lot of tingling here, a lot of a pulling sensation, headaches, migraines even. So if you need to back it up, just kind of take a fluff break and don't meditate for a while if you get too many extenuating headaches. Flashes of light in the periphery, seeing dots, particularly blue stars when you close your eyes, and blue and purple colors, both when the eyes are closed and when they're open. When the throat chakra opens, you get a lot of coughing, strangely enough. When it starts to open, you want to clear your throat all the time, and you're always like, you know, all the time. That's a big portion of the throat chakra opening. Wanting to be really quiet or overly expressive is an example of the throat chakra opening as well. Because if you're in your stillness with your throat chakra, then the throat chakra is like, yeah, I'm good with not speaking. When my throat chakra opened more, I got laryngitis because my guides were like, yeah, you don't need to talk. Kind of sucked because I needed to work that week. And then at a time when it was open and I needed to speak more, I was just talking all the time, like telling everyone my truth. I'm sure my entire household was like, please shut up. So basically speaking, it can be one or the other depending upon what your needs are at that time. And I will go ahead and talk to Inez now. How are you doing, Inez?
Inez is my name.
Inez, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm good. I didn't expect to come up on screen so quickly because I just raised my hand, so surprise. I have, I guess, a couple of questions, but small ones, I hope. First of all, I hope that this practice is going to clear the heaviness and fogginess I feel in my head sometimes. Because like clearing the third eye, opening it up, opening the crown chakra, also to silence the mind, I guess, plays a big role in that.
Yeah, the more you do self-inquiry and the more you meditate and clear your mind, the more that particular blockage there is. For you, when I look at you, it's kind of here, and it feels like somebody just wrapped your head in cotton, like all the way, like you got a cotton hat on that's just covering everything, and then you get confusing and you can't make decisions and your discernment is off. You kind of feel like you don't know when you should speak and when you shouldn't, and you're not trusting your discernment, you're not trusting yourself. So this is actually a throat chakra problem.
Oh, okay.
More. It'll be okay. These chants, not just the visualizations, but the chants will help.
Is there a specific one? Because we have so many.
Yeah, for you, I'm going to show you. It's the earth one, but I lost it. Here it is. Invoking the name of truth opens up your, this is getting you into your grounded nature. It's the earth one.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then the other, because you mentioned astral traveling, is it going to just happen on its own as we practice what you gave us today, or shall we focus on that, or should we be more active in our astral travel practice? And if
Don't
yes,
worry about it first. It'll happen naturally, and because you don't want to go to the I'm freaked out thing, you want to take this little step at a time with opening the third eye first. It's the order in which I do these classes for a reason, and astral travel is last.
okay.
But sometimes, I'm telling you, sometimes it'll happen whether you like it or not with the use of these symbols. But let's just see what happens and take it a step at a time.
Good. And last question. I think the first person asked it already, but I wanted to make it clear again. So about the order on how to use all the chants, the symbols, and just everything. And the intensity, I guess, for example, if we focus on only one practice per week, let's say just a communicator for 1 week, then the next, then the next, then the next, and then we move on to the elements. And I guess this is also a feeling thing, if we need longer, if we need shorter, but...
Trust yourself. Some of you will fly through them like nobody's business, and then some of you will feel like you're stuck on one for a month. Trust yourself. This is where you got to trust your discernment. For me personally, it was about one a month, but I was a little kid then. You know what I mean? For many of my students, it appears to be anywhere from 1 a week to 1 2 weeks to 1 a month. So it's, because you got to memorize them. You got to let these become a daily part of your life. It is a discipline.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Much love. Let's take another Q&A. What is the psychedelic realm I see sometimes? Oh gosh, hon, there are a million psychedelic realms. Is there a specific reason I see this? Sometimes not, sometimes, and then not at other times, because I do not take psychedelics. When your third eye is completely open, and if it opens at the same time as your pineal gland is completely clear, and your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland are completely clear, and all the chakras open at once, that is a particular moment. Some people call this the God moment, the God connection, enlightenment, quickening, fastening. There are many things that people have called it throughout the centuries, but when this happens in that psychedelic moment, that's not just one realm. There are many realms that you're going through, and you're connecting to your God center. So you're connecting to the highest, probably 10th and 11th dimensional realm that you could go towards at that point in time that is specific to you. So it's because of that, you're connecting to your God center fully, and all of these chakras open up. We also call that Kundalini awakening or Kundalini rising. Basically speaking, it's just the God moment, the God connection. There are many things we call that. It's a moment of, oh, wow. Happens in meditations, happens during certain chants. Some people call it your third eye popping. It's just a part of awakening and awareness, particularly when you're really waking up in a heavy way all at once. Okay, so let's take another person on screen. We'll take Levi at this point while I answer another question. Ruby asked, what if that there's people's auras who can't be seen? I'm not understanding the grammar, I'm trying. What does it mean? What if their aura can't be seen? And also any difference for dull and bright auras? Well, it depends. I've never personally had an aura that I couldn't see. Normally, if I can't see an aura, it means that they could be next to death and like something tragic is about to happen. It could mean that they're very ill and they're approaching an exit point from this third dimensional reality. But it's very rare that you can't see it. Normally, if you can't see it, the problem is you, not the person. Okay, but if you really know that you see them regularly and you are adept at seeing auras and you don't see them, probably that person is going through a very intense experience that might cause them to no longer be alive here soon. About your second part of the question, with any difference between dull and bright auras, yeah. A dull aura normally indicates mental illness, physical illness. A dull aura can indicate the presence of too much psychiatric medication. Opioids can create a dull aura. Addictions can create a dull aura of any kind. Drug use that's abused, prescribed or not, can create a dull aura. Depression can create a dull aura. I think you know where I'm going with that. Insofar as a bright aura, generally speaking, if you get it's not just that it's bright, it needs to be clear as well. So if it's bright and it's clear and it's very see-through, then you know that person is highly evolved and very clear in their emotional states. I'll talk to Levi now. How you doing, Levi? Mike. Okay. Hang on. Okay, is my microphone better? Okay, I'll talk to Levi now. How you doing?
Can you not hear me?
Kinda. A little bit.
How about now?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, it's just my phone. I gotta be really close.
Oh, that's good. We can see your nose hairs. We're happy about that. Yay.
Okay. Sometimes when I'm like meditating or I'm like starting to see things, especially when I connect to like the astral or the Akashic records, sometimes I go between like a phase of like seeing and like knowing. Like it's like sometimes it's as vivid as physically seeing it. Sometimes it's like I kind of know this thing is there. But like sometimes it even looks like a hologram. Like, you know, in Star Wars how they have those 3D holograms that they talk to, kind of like their Skype thing. It's kind of like that, but it's like violet. And it used to be like that all the time, but it's shifted more to like between a knowing and like actually seeing. How can I pull that more into like an actual seeing as opposed to like a knowing sense?
Hang on, I'll give you the symbol for that one.
Awesome.
That one. Yeah, I think that sometimes when you're shifting into knowingness, also it's your guide's way of saying, hey, you got to trust that you know this first, and then we'll let you see again. So just be like, I accept the knowingness of this. And then the visions will normally come back stronger.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, because last time that happened, I was kind of like meditating. And so like I saw an Egyptian pharaoh, but it was not a life that I'm aware of. It was just one that I'm aware of. And then all of a sudden I very strongly saw like Tahuti. Like he took me to the Sphinx, and like it happened so fast from what I had seen prior to. I was like, wait a second, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's all normal. And it'll switch real quickly too. So it's all good. Okay, your internet's kind of fading in and out, so I'm gonna go. But if you have another question, just put it in chat and I'll try to get to it.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, let's take another Q&A. I always see a violet color that swirls in my third eye. Yes, the swirling is really, really common, by the way, when it's open and active normally. Should I try and change the color? No, go with it. If it's swirling effectively, please go with it. Okay, we'll take Gitte while I'm answering another question. A couple days back, I woke up from sleep and started to check the notifications on my Facebook. I was not fully awake or asleep. Oh, that's fun when you start transcending time. I knew you would do that soon, Bhupinder. I saw a beautiful dragonfly, and it flew from the bottom of my phone and touched my hand, which was on my phone, and disappeared. I checked Facebook, but no one was talking about any new creature on Facebook. You were actually transcending time. You were stepping to the ether so much that you began to bilocate, which I knew would happen. And the use of these symbols, when you get to the finality of everything that we taught today, will carry that even further. Happens to me all the time. When you kind of think you're awake, but you're really not, and you are going forward in time, you're forward in that moment because you know you're going to check your notifications when you wake up. So you're acting that moment out in that future reality, except because you weren't really there, you're in the ether, and you're able to transcend and be in the future while also activating a certain realm and connect that realm into yours. So you were bilocating, pulling your realm into someone else's. Okay, let's talk to Gitte now. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Pamela?
I'm good.
I have a question in regard to the material you're teaching. and it's where you were saying we had to breathe through the third eye and draw in the color. Does the color present itself, or do we choose it? And then there would be a symbol, and we were to expand that symbol. Does both the color and the symbol present itself, or is it something we try to envision?
You can use any of the symbols that I utilize today, any of them, particularly the one for the third eye, but you can use any of them. But when you first start, I wouldn't go into the symbology right away. I would just breathe the color in and expand from it. And sometimes the entire chakra ball itself will become the symbol. So depending upon after you memorize these symbols later, you can choose any of them and put them there and see which one works best for you. The color doesn't matter. I gave specific colors in the material outline that are good, like indigo, violet, green, royal blue, because those are the ones that seem to work the best. But if you go to one it doesn't work, just choose another one. And then if one comes to you that's different from what I presented in this material, allow for that, because we're all unique beings.
Thank you. And then when we expand it, we connect to whatever those symbols.
When you expand it, you'll notice that the ball of breath and chakra will become the symbol, and it'll be around, you know, it could become this symbol, it could become that symbol. The color will be all over the symbol, and you will be rotating it and just expanding it and rotating it and expanding it and rotating it and expanding it, and the chakra will become the symbol.
And at that point, we set an intention for where we want to go with
Yes,
this. We just follow.
That's the point where you begin your self-inquiry. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's take another question. Is this relegated to the cube of, yeah, I already answered that. Okay. Symbolism and mantras. How long should we sit with each symbol and or chant during meditation? I already answered that. It really doesn't matter. I prefer 20 minutes, but if you can only do 5, do 5. Let's take another question just to get through them since they're building up. I'm going to do like 3 or 4 at a time now really quickly. How do we meditate on all the symbols? Because there are so many mantras, chants, and symbols. Do we meditate, for example, 1 at a time per week? I think I just answered that, but yes, you can do 1 at a time per week, or you can do as many as you want. The previous to air, what element? I don't know what you're asking, Mariella. Ask in chat. I do not know tones, have no singing voice. Will chanting still be effective? Absolutely. Especially if you just say it in your head. And even if you can't get the right pitch, it doesn't matter. For those people who aren't frequency-based, they're not going to be able to chant comfortably, but do it anyway, okay? And you'll get used to it. And if you're uncomfortable with it after having tried, just do it in your mind only, and it'll be okay. Yes, it is still effective. So let's take Moni on screen while I answer one more question. I live in the woods and in a hilly area. Any advice on how to sun gaze? Can you get to the top of a hill that has the least amount of trees, or get to a flat zone? Any advice on how to sun gaze? Well, yes, that's in the course material. Just do it before as the sun is rising or as the sun is setting, like right before the sun rises, right when it just starts, or right when it's setting, or at the end of the setting, like right there at the tail end of it. And can you give us a list of things needed to be done daily? That is in the course material. Yeah, just go back on your course material. I've got so many questions. Let's go ahead and talk to Moni now.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
It's good to feel you again. This has been marvelous. I really just raised my hand because I wanted to say that I'm in such bliss and so grateful for the teachings, for welcoming me back. It's been super fun, and truthfully, throughout the teachings, you've been answering every question I had, and so it's been great because I just keep checking. I'm like, oh yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That has been incredible. The one thing that I have felt that I think I could get, if you have any additional tips, this removing the self-doubt part. I have always seen myself a bit as a hedgehog because I don't see. I feel, I hear, I get sense, and I have a lot of intuition that tells me where to go, and all of this, big neon signs on the road. But I would like to know if you have any tips regarding this removing the self-doubt. If you have any further tips about exploring that within.
Yes. The accountability journal. The more you keep the accountability journal through the years and you read it bi-weekly, or more often than that even, whatever your heart desires, but at least bi-weekly, the more you're going to see what came true. You're like, I had this experience in meditation, okay, and then a day later, something happened, and it was just what said in meditation. Or I saw a synchronicity and a symbol, and you start to connect the dots, and you start to, over time, you evidence to your inner critic that there's no reason to have doubt. So it's just time and practice.
Thank you. And then the other thing that I had, and perhaps you may have covered this with others, so please just say so. But in the past, I had been a lot more open to helping others, and I actually did a lot of therapy with other people. But then I closed all of this and got into more academic mind of work and centered. I have felt since I discovered your family again that there's a lot more that I could be doing for others. And I was wondering if you have a bit more of that reawakening tips, kind of like how to welcome this healing process for others, aside from concentrating on myself.
Take all the material, and once you awaken and practice, you need to develop a practice towards helping other people by putting yourself in the position to help other people. So many people say, I want to help others. And I'm like, switch from I want to doing.
Yeah.
You don't need, even though it's helpful to have all this education and practice, sometimes it's the act of it, even before you've done all this coursework, to go out and try. You'll notice that your own gifts activate the more you put yourself in the presence of others and actually begin. Okay?
Okay. Thank you. This is precious. Thank you so much, Pamela.
You're welcome. I'll take another Q&A just a second. What are concordant records? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Akashic records are from the Hall of Records, as described by Archangel Raziel. Akashic records are what we view as the past. Concordant is the present as well as future potentials. That's what the concordant records are. We will be discussing this in parts 1 and 2 of the Journey Through the Akasha class coming up at the end of July. So take another Q&A. What can I do to help me find my life purpose? Your purpose is the meaning of life is to find your purpose. Your purpose is always a heart-centered expression. So when you ask yourself how I want to feel, then you will be in line with your purpose. So when you go into the Akashic records as well, and when you talk to your life, when you talk to your guides, you can ask what your life purpose is, but keep in mind they will give it to you as a feeling, because purpose is a feeling and a being state. It is not your job, it is not your goal, it is not your spiritual practice. It is what you feel in your heart. For example, my purpose is compassion and acceptance. I have about 8 actually on this planet, only 4 of which I've mastered, but compassion and acceptance is one that I'm currently working on that I have not mastered. So basically speaking, with purpose, you just go into self-inquiry as by using the tools, of self-inquiry that we talked about in this video, especially in the beginning of the class, as well as operating under the self-inquiry practice from Ramana Maharshi in the book Be As You Are. That self-inquiry is an amazing way to find your life purpose and to connect to your guides. And all of the course material helps you to connect to your guides naturally as well. Q&A again, please talk about thyroid medication. If it is allopathic, it is going to block your throat chakra, not your third eye, but if you block your throat chakra, you know what I'm going to say, then the third eye normally will be blocked as well. It doesn't start by blocking the third eye, but it blocks the throat chakra, and sometimes it'll block the heart chakra as well. So I suggest bioidentical hormone replacement therapy in infused pellet form, as opposed to other forms of just regular pills, which will cause some residual that becomes toxic in your system, natural or not. I really like the fused pellet forms because they're time released and they are effectively going through your system without causing residue to be in your physical and etheric energy field. Thyroid medication, particularly levothyroxine and Synthroid, is absolutely horrible. I really, really don't like it. With that being said, I have to put forth my disclaimer. I am not a doctor and I am not qualified to treat or diagnose you. Have to say it, guys. Sorry. It's legal. Is clairsentience located in the heart or also the pineal gland? It is primarily your heart center, but it does help to activate the pituitary and hypothalamus gland, actually, if you want to help with clairsentience. Let's go ahead and take Pedro on screen while we answer another Q&A. I think I can hear, Donna says, music playing in my head when I awaken seems to answer questions I think about. Yeah, it's clairaudience. There's nothing to explain about it. That means you are awakening to your clairaudience. Music in the head is an example that you are a frequency-based being. Hi, Pedro. How are you?
Hello. How are you doing? Fine. I was not aware I was online. I just watched it.
You are now.
Here I am. Oh, yes. So I have two questions. One is related to a thing that's been happening to me is when I close my eyes to go to sleep. First, it's like all is black, and then I start seeing these patterns. First, it started just like a little window with this, I don't explain what kind of pattern it is. And then it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And last day was like a circle full of patterns. I don't know what kind of, it's like black with kind of goldish. I don't know, is this like a download, ET download, something like that?
Those are portals. Those are portals. Those, you need to go into them. You need to set the intention to explore them and pull your light body through them. Your body is trying to astrally project and go through the ether. Go into it.
All right. So, okay, because I was seeing that, I say I'm clearly seeing these patterns all the way through, and I was not aware of.
Those are portals. When you guys get this, that's a really good question, by the way. When you get the doorways or the circles and they appear to be moving, expanding, that's your guide saying, get in there.
Yeah, because the last one was actually a circle, and this time I could really get, oh, this is a circle, because before it was just like a loose patterns. The second question is one thing that when I passed through my awakening, I had a lot of connection with Yeshua, and one of the things that he kept reminding me was that search for the sky and justice, something like that. I don't know how to translate this in English. And all these talents will be added to you, meaning that if we search a good heart with a good intention, all these meanings will, all these talents, like what we are searching here. So as a reminder, like, should we always try to keep ourselves accountable, if this is the right word, and to focus on the heart as our true intention is, as not to get the power for having power. Right? You know what I mean? I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying.
If you mean that having a heart-centered, ethical, heart-conscious intention would be a good start, absolutely. You got to make sure your intention is in the right place. Make sure it's ethical. So many people come to me and they say, I want to open the third eye and travel through the ether and go through the Akashic records because it's fun and I'm bored. Not really an ethical or good enough intention, quite frankly. Sorry. You got to have it in here with what are you going to do with it? Are you going to help the world? Or are you going to sit there and use it as a way to escape the body? Clairvoyance should not be escapism. It should be used to serve society, not just yourself.
That's exactly it. Because when I went through awakening many, many years ago, I felt so much of the Christ consciousness inside of me. And all this love, unconditional love. And I never opened the third eye. I was never, like, obsessed with it. And I am a therapist. I help people with hypnotherapy and QHHT and all the rest of it, and also with my own knowledge. But yeah, that's the thing I wanted you to say as a confirmation that yes, we should always try to focus on our hearts mainly, and then all these things will come naturally, and then we use them. Because like you said in the classes that I attended, sometimes you are more, you feel more, sometimes you see more, sometimes you hear more. So it's just searching for the right ability to help, and it will appear.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, for some people, if you open the heart first, the empathy will just stay there and it won't come without a lot of practice and technique. For some people, the heart opening up happens right away. It just depends upon your gifts. And I don't think that there's one way, to do this. So, but yeah, I always think you should connect to your heart no matter what you're trying to do in your spiritual practice, because that's the reason why we're here.
True. Thank you. You answered all my questions, and congrats on an amazing content.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot coming from you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Okay, let's take some more Q&A. Can you tell us more about how to astral travel? It's all in the course material. Let it happen through a psalm by the practicing. It will happen, and also it will come about in the Akashic records. There's a little bit of it, and in our astral projection class, which will be early next year. Another Q&A. What is my best spiritual gift to use for QHHT? QHHT, I noticed that in most people, it's knowingness. Precognition will start and be the best connection. Empathy does not seem to be something that is, empath seems to have a hard time with QHHT because they get so much into the client's issues, because QHHT, and much like my quantum alchemy process, is incredibly heavy. You see some things that you don't want to see, much like in shamanism. So I think that for QHHT and shamanism and quantum alchemy, which is my specific process that I will be teaching, it's the precognition is the safest place you can start, and then clairvoyance thereafter. Another Q&A. I once saw something in my third eye. Two years ago while I slept, I once saw something in my third eye 2 years ago while I slept, like watching a silent black and white movie on a projector, and then that was it. Okay, nothing happened again. Does it mean anything that I couldn't see anything else? No. That's just the beginning stages of third eye awakening. It's normal that it may occur in black and white at first because you haven't opened the third eye, but there's something there. And sometimes that does happen, particularly when you're dreaming and in lucid states, you'll get the black and white first. That's really normal. That just keep asking for more self-inquiry and more intention, more operations from the hypnagogic space. Can blockages on lower chakras affect upper chakras? Honestly, not always. I don't see those two being a problem. I am not a very grounded person. My root chakra is about 50-50 most of the time. I am all over the place, and I don't see it affecting my upper chakras. And I see that for the majority of people, I don't see that affects or connects. The upper chakras work with the upper chakras primarily. With that having been said, everyone is a unique individual, and I have met some people it's a problem for. So if you feel it's a problem for you, then yes, work on your lower chakras. Everyone's different. Next Q&A. I have this strange feeling about the use of the mantras. It just feels strange. Not that I'm worried about what people think. I truly don't, but making these tones feels weird. You could be in a process of ego-based, not, when I say ego, guys, I don't mean arrogant, I mean fear. Anything that you feel from ego when you say, I don't want to do this, is likely your ego trying to get in the way of a very big awakening. So if you feel that you don't want to do it, it feels weird, do it anyway. Tones are really, really important part of awakening, and I feel like that's probably just an ego block. Next Q&A. The triangular symbols seem extra important to me. Yeah, for people who are natural alchemists, things that come in threes, like the triangular part of symbols, seem to be the most active portion. So try those first if you feel aligned. Lalini says, I saw the Great Pyramid with energy coming out of the top and energy hitting my third eye. Yes, the pyramid is a wonderful activation that we haven't had a chance to cover in this class, but for those of you who focus on the pyramid in your third eye expansion, you'll feel like a light just powerfully come through the top of it and activate right in the center portion of it and come straight through your third eye. You can actually visualize that, and it's really, really helpful. I thought of Arcturians and astral traveling. Yes, Arcturians were the primary ones to create that specific technique in ancient Egypt. Can I get more insight on this? Okay, I just gave it. I see a lot of pyramid and triangles. Yes, that's a part of the raw soul group that is common. And the all-seeing eye, yes, 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 yes. Let's take Rashad on screen, please, while I'm answering one more question from the Q&A. Do I have any gifts or certain clairs? With you, Laura, I'm going to say that it is the precognizance and telepathy. Hi, Rashad.
Hey, Pam, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been having problems with my throat a lot lately. It's kind of,
Oh, God, me too.
yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but of course I'm sitting there saying, what did I sign myself up for in this class?
Yeah. You know how my stuff is, boy. You know.
I know. I'm seeing orbs and lights dancing around my laptop. I'm not kidding. It's been kind of weird, I guess
class. I warned people.
Listen, but you know me well, so I guess I'm thinking. I guess this came at the right time, but during my awakening, my body has been on such an overload of just everything, and I'm questioning myself, like, should I, even after this class, should I really get into this, because this is going to open me up even more. And I know I do feel like I'm supposed to, but my body is just on overload right now. Like I can feel.
Time. You're pulling it. You're such an empath primarily that you're pulling it into. When I first met you couldn't see anything.
Right.
Right. And you've gone from that to this, and like now Eric talks to you and all kind of stuff telepathically. Like you've come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So basically speaking, your body is pulling it through because you have not focused on the heart. You need to go into some inner child work. You need to heal from here now emotionally, and then you'll feel better about activating the third eye.
Well, honestly, I'm not scared about activating the third eye. It's just, I think it's more, I don't want the physical sensation, because my body has been through so much.
Get stronger because you're a natural physical medium through empathy and clairsentience. So
right.
You work on the inner child more, healing the heart chakra, self-love, read whatever arises, love that. Really step into self-love, really heal the inner child, do some healing child work, maybe some theta healing or some QHHT or some quantum alchemy with me, whatever you want, but you need to work on the inner child.
I'm getting there more. One more question. I know we talk about the ether a lot right now, and when I'm meditating, I'll start with my eyes closed and I'll open it, but I can see normally, I don't know, should I be focusing on the ether with my eyes closed? Because when I open, I'm now seeing this mist all around me, and sometimes the mist is coming at me. And as of now, lately, the more I do it, I'm starting to see the mist further out into the room now. Yeah. So I don't know if I don't think I'm seeing ether when my eyes are closed. I'm just seeing whatever I want to see. But should I be doing it for me? I guess should it be better with my eyes open to start seeing and exploring more, or closed?
Both. I think you need to close them and then open them, and then close them and then open them, and then try just whatever you see in here, set the intention to duplicate it out here. And then whatever you see out here, set the intention for it to come back in here. Basically, you train your physical eyes to adjust in the cones and rods in a way that replicates and then gets out of the way. So it's like, see it at first and then let it go. And then you see something else, and then see it, identify with it, replicate it, and then let it go and see what else comes. Basically speaking, it's, okay, close your eyes and say you have a candle in front of you. You're trying to visualize that candle. Open them and you see the candle. Set the see the candle in your third eye, close your eyes, and initially that is a retina reflection, okay? Cones and rods are adjusting and trying to replicate, let them, and then open the eyes, and when you open them again, you go see something different, okay? And then you say, okay, I saw something different a little bit that time. When I close my eyes, I'm gonna replicate what I saw that was different and the candle again. So you'll see the candle, and then you'll see what you saw that was different in the ether out here. Okay, and then you set the intention to open up and see it out here. And every time you open up your eyes, you're going to see more. And then you set the intention to replicate it when you close your eyes. Okay, and then you're going to see more and more in here and more out here.
Right. Okay.
You won't be able to handle it all.
Well, I have an appreciation for what you said earlier, ago, about you have a precognition or flash. So this is a 10-second story. I'm cutting the grass, and in the middle of nowhere, it's like a meditation. I noticed my daughter coming down the hill, and she was waving to me, right? But it didn't happen. I swear to God to you, a minute later, my daughter walks down the hill and waves to me and says goodbye. And it was like, why did I just see that? But I've noticed that that's been happening a lot more.
Jump in some timelines. Basically speaking, you're seeing into the future.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks, Pam. I'm out of here.
You're welcome.
See you later.
Okay. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap up because we're at it 45 minutes longer than I wanted to because I had so much material. But what we're thinking about doing here is possibly creating a bonus video, just like we're in the process of doing for those of you who attended the channeling class. We're still going to do that. We'll probably take these questions that didn't get answered, and for anyone who didn't have a chance to ask something, we will take the ones that didn't have a chance to ask something and take all those questions and put it in a little bonus video. So no, we're not going to be creating a Facebook group to perpetuate this because this is really sacred material for me. And I don't mean to seem exclusive, but I am going to seem exclusive. And I'm not going to feel ashamed about that. It's material that, if it gets in a Facebook group, because I do charge for it and make my livelihood from it, I don't want to put it out there. I'm not prepared for that. And I can't really control Facebook groups. What's said there, because I have my own Facebook group that is full of 24,000 people right now, I can't be managing what's said in Facebook groups to really confirm or deny the teachings. I can't control who goes in them. I can't manage them. I don't have time. So I cannot do that for that reason. But we will provide a bonus video for the questions that did not get answered if you did not have a chance to come on screen or get a question, at least 1 or 2 questions answered with me already. Okay. So next we have Akashic Records, the journey through the Akashic Records, and it's going to be this times 10. So if you think this was heavy material and a lot, the channeling was the beginning. It just goes on. This material is something that I could probably teach for lifetimes and not have enough. So expect more. And the Akashic Records, expect it to build. These are building classes. So thank you for being here. I hope to see you in the Akashic Records Part 1 and 2. And I just love what you're doing. I love that you're expanding. I love that you're a part of this journey with me. Thank you so much. I'll let management end now. Namaste. Good afternoon. Namaste. Pamela Aaralyn. Coming back for the All-Seeing Eye class to just go over the questions that we didn't get a chance to. So hopefully for those of you who did not get a chance to ask questions, we did keep a list and I'm just going to be answering the rest of them now. Give me one moment. I'm opening up the list. I am having trouble meditating. I think I remember you saying that grounded meditations would not work the best for me. Can you recommend a form of meditation that will resonate better for me? The only problem with these questions is it doesn't show your name. And I didn't know that going into advanced. So for whoever, I'm going to have to use some strong psychic skill here because it doesn't show me the name on these question lists. You need exercise via focus, the clarity of a sport, and exercise, preferably whoever you are, a gentle one, because you've got some knee issues. So, and a little bit of back and neck. So for you, I'm going to say a focused sport like or yoga, as well as chanting, as opposed to meditating in silence. I would go into bhakti yoga. Okay. Next question. What if we see aliens in meditation? I saw one today and tried to change the scene. I don't feel I'm ready to discuss. Maybe others are as well. I assume you meant you don't feel you're ready to discuss it in class. Okay, understandable, but that does indicate that you could have some fear. It would be good to work through that fear. When you're going to open up your third eye and be operating through the ether and using these symbols, you're going to see extraterrestrials. You're going to see things that you don't understand. Here, it would be good to use the symbol that I gave to you for protection and, go through it, the ones that I gave to you in class. Use that symbol. Hold on, I'll show it to you again, actually, since I have them all here. Just so that I can hold it up to the screen for you. Hang on a second, let me find it. Here we go, the octahedron, right? Use that one. And then chant Om Saha Nav Avatu. Okay. Yeah, you're going to see aliens in meditation. Please get used to it. Again, don't freak out. It's going to happen. This is part of seeing through the ether. Please get used to seeing extraterrestrials, spirit guides, your higher self components, and everything else. I'm not one to label everything that's out there these days. So just know that there's a lot that's out there. You cannot be afraid of that. Next question. I'm having trouble with my life purpose. Yeah, that's normal. And I think in self-inquiry, you will get that. We discuss that a lot in the class material. So I'm just going to kind of go over this briefly, and hopefully you'll get your recording and go backwards in the material. But when it comes to life purpose, you can come and have an individual session with someone, but more so what's quicker is when you can ask yourself, how would I like to feel, as opposed to what I want to do? Because your life purpose, as discussed in the class, it isn't your job, your hobbies, your goals, your activities. It's the question of not who am I, but what am I? And the what meaning, what do I feel? A life purpose is always, always, always a feeling state, okay? Next question, and yeah, it is a stepping stone. What do primary and secondary aura colors represent? The primary color normally will show your life purposes, your contracts you can get through the Akasha and the life colors. They represent the whole purpose of why you're here. The life colors are like the meat of what you are, meaning the feeling state. The secondary colors represent the who, the who you are. That's your personality, your strengths and weaknesses and character, or alleged strengths and weaknesses, however you want to say that. Your personality components, your alignments and interests in this lifetime, what you like to do, your hobbies and goals and things that you do and present yourself. Secondary colors also show your mental and physical health. Next question. My gifts allow me to connect to others' highest consciousness, which takes me to their past life traumas. Yeah, that's good. That's normal. I'm able to recalibrate the traumas on all realms I am able to recalibrate the trauma on all realms within all realities, all metaphysical realms. More importantly, I assist the this question is too long. I'm so sorry. I'm happy you're able to do that, though. That's the purpose of this class. For you, I would advise going deeper into the concordant records, which will be a part of the Akashic Records review classes, both in July and in August. So yeah, there's a lot that you can do. I'm glad that you're telling me what you can do, but I don't see a question in this statement. So I'm going to continue. No offense, by the way. The management gave me a small portion of it and it cut it off. And I scrolled all the way over and I did not see, oh, look, it does show me names, but barely. And now I can see the names of the questions. That's helpful too. But it did your full question. Maybe if I click on it, it will. I take this to the final blueprint of the individual. Yeah, it's showing me more of your question now. With what their highest consciousness wanted me to see. I always get permission. Is this okay? This is a long question, and it's it just doesn't show everything because the question is so long. Just give me a second. I'm trying to figure out this chart and it's not very user-friendly. I take this to the final blueprint of the individual with what their highest consciousness wanted me to see. I always get permission. Is this okay? Your guides say yes, but I can't. Is this okay to be something? And that's all that I have. So your guides say yes. I'm sorry, I don't know what you said. You guys are gonna have to shorten your questions next time. It's hard to keep up with after the fact because we only get a quick little screenshot of tiny little stuff. Am I from the Raw Soul group? I don't know because I've got to find out your name, which is scrolled all the way over. This is like reading a pie chart. I don't know, because I don't know you, and I need to, Alina, I should know you, but I don't remember. I need your picture. Sorry about that. I don't know that answer. I'm not getting a connection on that one way or the other. But I can tell you guys that for many people who came in this class, I noticed that about 90% were from the raw soul group. So, but I'm not connecting to this one individual at this time. My 12-year-old daughter can also see auras and beings. What part of this material should I introduce to her first to help her on her journey? She's 12, so that's going to be tricky. I would say start out slow with a 12-year-old. I don't know you. It said Stacy, but I don't remember which one. I have a really crappy memory, and being that this class is, I'm not in the moment of it, this is 2 days later. I'm going to say you need to start her out slowly. Don't give her this material right away unless you really feel that she can handle it. If you really feel that she can handle it, then maybe you can go into channeling, you know, at some levels of, if she's seeing beings, I would go to the channeling material first, not the aura seeing material. That's just my sense on it without really seeing a picture of you and remembering who you are. Okay, next question. My third eye was buzzing as I was falling asleep, and I saw a symbol in my eye, a circle with what looked like a cube's corner inside of it. This looks like sacred geometry and alchemy symbols. I would love to find the origin and purpose of it. Can I do that during meditation? Yes, you can. Next question, how long does it take to go through all the symbols and mantras? I answered that question in the class material. Am I a part of your soul group? Hold on. I don't know you, and I don't know, I'm sorry. But probably, like I said, 90%. I looked at the name and I didn't recognize it, but that doesn't mean it's a yes or a no. 90% of the people who took this class were invited by me. If you're invited by me, you probably are. I've been seeing a lot of colors when I start going into a meditative sleep. Is this a part of the opening of the third eye? Yes. I see a lot of the same 3 colors, green, purple, yellow with pink mixed in. Yeah, that's all normal. Next question, I see faces of people and other beings when I am falling asleep. They smile at me and then disappear. Yeah, you're definitely seeing into the ether. Yeah, is this a part of it? Yes. How do I get them to stay longer to connect? I remember talking to you in the class material, so I'm going to skip that one. But yeah, you need to meditate longer and follow all of the material that was in the class. Next question, I've been seeing the sign for sublimate for a while and not knowing what it was. Should I focus on this symbol? If you're seeing the symbol for sublimation in your mind, if you're seeing that before, absolutely. Yes, absolutely focus on it more. That's a synchronicity to follow. Regarding an empath, how to ground. You know, I'm not one that's best to go with insofar as how to ground. Do your Googling, do your research. For me personally, what I've noticed with my students, some of them have about 50% capability of staying grounded, but when you start to go through seeing through the ether, you're going to naturally become ungrounded. Eat more grounded foods, get more of a regular circadian rhythm pattern, watch your frequency, keep your frequency in higher realms, meaning above anger, like anything that's excitement, joy, bliss, you know. Keep your frequencies high. Try to do earthing with your feet on the earth. That's how I ground more. But with even all of that stated, with all of the proper frequency management techniques, such as bathing in Epsom salts, which I do all the time, you know, salt baths, I do a lot of Epsom salt scrubs on my face and all over my body. Even with all of that, it's still super hard to ground. But frequency management with all of that, is the best way that I can tell you how to ground. Meditation with visualizations of grounding. Meditate in the grass with your feet on the earth. Meditate on the earth is the absolute best way that I figured out insofar as how to ground. Next question. I've been experiencing a lot of fear during my meditation and attempts in astral projection. You got to work through it. Again, if you have fear when you go through this type of work, it's not good. You've got to work through the fear before you continue in this material, okay? In particular, in regards to feeling entities around me, you spoke about this briefly, but can you share any advice on fear? That would be something that you can research on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos about how to overcome anxieties and fears, but being that this is a real quick, addition to the class, I'm gonna have to keep it quick, okay? But you can do that research on my YouTube channel. How to distinguish chakras glowing from the rest. I love you guys, but you need some grammar. I'm going to read you exactly what you said. How to distinguish chakras glow from the rest aura field. I'm assuming that you're meaning how to distinguish the chakras energy from the rest of the aura field, because when you're looking at it, you will feel as an empath, if you're primarily empathic, you will feel it in here. And also when you're looking at the auric field, it comes more in a linear pattern, which you'll see a color that comes in front of the body or behind the body or going within the body. So it's about its placement. The rest of the aura field is seen primarily out here. There's a tiny little line, that goes from the aura colors, the primary and the secondary aura colors to the actual chakra system. If you follow those little lines, you'll get to be able to see what chakra is connecting and what chakra is feeding that level of their aura. Next question, I've been seeing botanical spiral shapes with geometry. That's normal for those of you who have a druidic background. Feeling a twitching in your body, that's normal for spiritual awakenings. You need to continue. Next question, I feel like the odd one out. I didn't get picked for the class, I just signed up. Guys, I know who said this question without even looking. I'm not gonna call you out, you know who you are. I did not invite you to the class because you had already signed up. So in our session together, you were telling me you were going to sign up for it. So there was no reason for me to personally invite you because you had already signed up. I would have invited you had you not signed yourself up though. I'm not going to call you out. You know who you are. I did take the mediumship classes and loved them. Good. But should I be practicing the things in this class? Yes, absolutely. I also see sparkles in my side vision, then milky sheets go by at night. Does this mean my third eye is opening? Yes, it does. And yes, you should be practicing all these things. I raise my hand, but if by any chance this is read first, I would like to know, do you have any additional tips for removing the self-doubt? Practice, 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 and more practice. Make the assumption that you're accurate at all times. We did go over this in the class, so I'm going to move forward with this question because it's in class material. About a month or so after my son passed, a few years ago, I saw an ether spirit and connected with him to his wife. I also heard my grandmother as clear as day speaking to me briefly. These things have not happened since then. Is there something I need to work on to get to that point? We actually talked in class, so I'm going to skip over this question, but I'll just tell you briefly, yes, you need to probably go into a channeling and mediumship course to reactivate those gifts, and keep practicing the tools in that class, the channeling and mediumship classes, as well as this one. But yeah, we discussed that in class. I'm pregnant now. Congratulations. Which we discussed months ago in our private session. Can I use any particular chant or symbol for the birthing process? Yeah, the water is really good. This one, the icosahedron, because you're connecting to the soul of your child and you are invoking the eternal eye of God to, water is very birthing. It's very, very good for that. It's a very, very strong symbol, and it will help give you strength. Next question, I saw the ceiling open up and heard, where do you think you're going? From an old man? Yeah. Who was that? And was I singing to the ether? I told him I wanted to visit heaven. I think that was a part of a Melchizedek being in that soul group that you're in that is a dominant guide. So very strong guide to you. I live in the woods and the hills. What do you suggest for sun gazing? We discussed that in class, so I'm going to skip this. I couldn't attend the class. Is it available to buy the recording? Ask management. I don't know. How to distinguish physical and emotional disorder in the aura. Okay, with that one, with physical, it's going to be seen out here. And with physical illnesses, it looks like white, like fuzzy white that's with a little bit of gray. And depending upon where the physical stuff is, which I strongly suggest going into my medical mediumship class for that, you can use the aura to basically discern what lines and patterns. If it looks edgy around the outside of the life color, then you know there's a problem with either mental or physical. Follow the lines that are seen in the auras, and that'll take you exactly to the chakra, and then follow the chakra, and that'll take you to the origin where the organ is, if it's a physical problem. If it's a mental problem, you'll see a lot of cloudy energy if it's emotional in the heart chakra, or up here in any of the chakras in the head. So that's how you will know. That's one of the things that we'll cover more deeply in the medical mediumship class coming up in the fall. What is it called that I do? Are you asking what your calling is? I don't know. You probably need a personal session for that one. And I looked at your name and I don't remember you. How does one know which soul group one belongs to? It doesn't matter, but you'll know because when you're around those people, you feel it more, you feel a connection, you feel like you belong. I mean, when you do your research on certain soul groups, like if you do your research on the raw group, which, or if you read the Law of One, which is part of the teachings of the raw group, and you feel connected to it, if you start hanging out with people who are from the Magdalene order and you feel connected to them, then you know. With the exception of asking your higher self or getting a reading about it, you have to keep asking your higher self, keep asking your higher self, ask in the hypnagogic state, ask self-inquiry. All these things were covered in the class in part 1 of the class under the self-inquiry in the first hour of the class when we discussed self-inquiry. But yeah, if you felt strongly attracted to this class, chances are you are in the raw soul group. I am a real neophyte when it comes to this stuff. Can you recommend a reading list that will stretch that I can stretch my mind with? Many Lives, Many Masters. Be As You Are, Ramana Maharshi. This is not material that anyone else covers. I only gave you those two because that's just more of a stronger fundamental connection. But yeah, for this class material, you're not going to find a lot of other stuff. Study some of the Barbara Brennan, maybe with some of her Melchizedek work, might cover at the basic level. Yeah. Other than that, not too many people teach what I teach. Sorry, no reading material. I want to know if my purpose is involved with seeing and drawing other higher selves of others. I can tell you right now it is. I just feel a strong connection to you, and it is. As well as other beings from different dimensions. Yes, it is. I'm going to look at your name to confirm that I feel so strongly that it's yes already. They're not showing me a name on that one. Hold on. Magdalene, yep. Yep, that's a yes. When I am outside and I relax and look at the air, I sometimes see lots of little sparkly, tiny, clear and white spots. They seem to be moving, but I don't see it if I focus on something. Yeah, we discussed that in the class. Don't focus on it. Look in the peripheral vision only. It'll get stronger the more you do the techniques with the opening the eyes and closing the eyes that we discuss in both part 1 and part 2 of the class. I want to know if my purpose is involved with seeing and, okay, we already did that. Will showing the symbols to our kids also help them, having them around the house? Yes, yeah, if they have those types of, gifts, then yes, it will. Are the symbols mirrored on the screen? I don't think that they were, no. I wasn't looking at my own screen, so I don't know, but yeah. I really don't know the answer to that, but I don't think that they are. We are going to be putting these symbols out at some point in time and gathering up some material that you can get from my website from it, but we have not had time to do that yet. Go over your class material. If you have a question, send us an email. Do you see other timelines and other lives when we open the third eye? If you follow the material in this class, yes, you will. This is an alchemy class, and it opens up the Akasha in preparation for that, which we're going to go deeper into that in July. Our class is in July. Can you tell me the best chant and drawing to utilize for me? Let me look at your name, Melina. Yeah. The ether, the third eye of Trinity, balance of mind, body, and spirit, that one. Just looking at your list. Why are some people born with these gifts and others need to learn it? Not a lot of people are born with gifts. Most people need to learn it. About 90% of people on earth need to learn it at some point in time. That's just based upon soul contract. Don't worry, it's not source excluding you. It's just your personal contract. Am I being drawn to the third eye to see? Okay, yes, we answered that. Same person, I believe, but let me see. Am I being drawn to the third eye to see and draw other higher selves? Yes, you are. Hi, Pamela, where can I get the picture you have framed behind you? I believe that Jim answered that in the class. You can get it from Kathy Shipper at Kathy Shipper Art Facebook page, or you can find her in my Facebook group or on my friends list at Facebook. Kathy Shipper, C-S-H-I-P-P-E-R, Kathy with a K. How are the colors in the aura different vibrations of different layers of energy and light? Yes, absolutely. How do you see chakras? We cover that in class. When you start seeing auras, chakras will be seen thereafter. Could you tell me what color is my aura? Yeah, if I can find you. Eva is primarily crystal. You're going through a big transition. Yeah, okay. I want to access the concordant records. We will be discussing that in the Akashic Records review class. That wasn't a part of this material. Soon, sign up for it, you'll love it. I've been seeing the sublimation symbol. Okay, that's a double question. Can you tell me if I'm meant to work with ETs? That's a triple question, yes you are. When I am outside, I often see faces, almost like smoke around me. Are those my guides? Probably. Let me look at your name. Veronique. Yeah. You're going to be seeing a lot more than that. Those are not just your guides, though. When you start to see the smoky, wavering images, those are also watchers and other extraterrestrial beings. Have you guys ever watched the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman? It's kind of like that. They're not in your realm. You're in theirs. When you start to see the ether, you're stepping into their realm. So they're not always there for us. It would be kind of like going into a shopping mall and saying, who's here? And are they all here for me? They're not. You're going into their realm. You're going into other dimensions. But you can learn about them. You can associate if you feel. There are many things you can do in those realms. Next question. Do you have any specific tips to clear or keep the pituitary, pineal, and hypothalamus glands healthy? Yes, all the class material covered that. Should I focus on shamanism? Alina, take your time. Your guide's saying take your time, go into it. Yes, but not now is what they're saying. I am currently having electroshock therapy and I'm on some psych medication. Is this negatively affecting my intuitive abilities? Yeah, you cannot. I'm going to get triggered. Why are you doing electroshock therapy? That is the most detrimental thing that you can do. With the exception of death, electroshock therapy is horrible. You are killing your brain. You are killing access to your higher self, to your inner child. Please, I don't know who's advising that, but that is a psychiatric technique that was done, 40 years ago. Psychiatric and spiritual help have transcended this time. And you're probably on some strong psychiatric medication as well. Does it affect the intuitive abilities? Yes, absolutely. And electric shock therapy is the worst. Which one is the strongest to affect the abilities? Zyprexa is absolutely horrible. It's an antipsychotic. Most antipsychotics, risperidone and risperidol, absolutely horrible for the abilities. Lithium, the worst, will shut you completely down and you'll feel like a non-sentient being, like you have no empathy. Just completely shut you down to your own heart center. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. If you can get away from taking those specific medications, depending upon what your problem is, keep it to the lighter ones. If you need an antidepressant, try an energizing antidepressant. Those are the safest to kind of guard your abilities. But all of them are pretty bad. Some of the ADHD drugs seem to be okay if taken in moderation, particularly like Vyvanse and Adderall seem to be okay, if taken in moderation. I haven't noticed a lot of dampening of the spiritual effects with those if you take it like in small amounts. The problem with Vyvanse and Adderall is that it builds, like you have to take more, and it can become addictive as well, which is a problem. So the emotional addiction part of it can be a problem. But yeah, it's these, if you can get away with not taking them, don't. I'm not a doctor. I have to put this on the recording because this is recorded. I am not qualified to give you this kind of advice, to treat you, diagnose you, to tell you what to do with your medications. I can only tell you what I have seen as a spiritual advisor. Does it affect intuitive abilities? Absolutely, and not in good ways. Okay, out of that trigger. Bless your heart. I should have probably looked at your name. Cassandra, yeah. You're going through a lot. Yeah. Talking about chakras, during meditation last week, I had an experience that I was separated in two and gold liquid poured into me. And it felt like my chakras were removed. We talked about in class that was definitely an upgrade. It's not a bad thing at all. Pamela, do I have any gift I'm not aware of yet? Well, let me see. Moni, we discussed it in class, but yeah, mediumship's a big one with you. I still have throat chakra tics. Are these a block or something I just accept and live with? It's sometimes when your chakra's opening up, you'll have those tics. I cough a lot when I get those tics. And you just kind of get like a feeling of irritation in the throat. Accept it. It means it's opening up deeper. It will get better. But insofar as the tics that you specifically have, you need to accept them. I think this is core belief. I think it's working with your inner child, a little bit more emotional work, but try to accept them. For you, I think it's going to be highly beneficial if you accept them. Your throat chakra's been opening up for a long time and it's still only partially open. In a QHHT session, I met a shaman. He offered me a special gift. Did I meet one of my guides? Yes. Guides, shamanic guides and elders and ancestors always come with a gift. That is a shamanic thing. Yes, you'll be able to find him. Yes. Bjorn, that's a cool name for a guide. How do I work with and heal my inner child? I have a lot of suggestions for that. Theta healing, inner child work, my aura alchemy process, which is under the processes section of my blog on aurareader.com, the resistance process, which is under the spiritual development section of my playlist. I like the completion process, it's Teal Swans. I like theta healing. I like EFT, which is the emotional freedom technique, tapping. There are many. I like quantum healing hypnosis. Quantum alchemy is one of my processes as well, which I don't publicize, but I have a few facilitators that are trained, not many. If you want to come to me to work with me with it as a client, you can. Read The Presence Process by Michael Brown. Yeah, anything you get your hands on with inner child work is helpful. Practicing self-love and self-value. Read Whatever Arises, Love That by Matt Kahn. I could keep going. There are a lot of suggestions for inner child work. Or come sit with me in the retreat coming up in August at campiamlove.com. There'll be many ways to heal your inner child there. What is the visual difference between transitional color and overlay? We talked about that in class, but transitional colors are basically something that is seen out here. With overlays, they cover your entire being, but with transitional colors, basically you can see through them and they look like they're bleeding in. We actually didn't get a chance to talk about this in class. I'm remembering now. Overlay colors we did, transitional colors we didn't, so thank you for asking. With transitional colors, they look like they're kind of bleeding in, kind of like, hold on, I'll show it to you. I'll draw it. It looks like this. If this is the standard, or if this is the aura color, the circle around the body, you'll see other colors with little like bleeding in through it, merging into it. That's how it looks. Let's go to the next question. Hang on. I never got my question answered. Did I explain it where it was understandable? I don't know, because that's not a question. Hang on a second. I'll scroll over and see if I can remember by getting your name. Stephanie, I don't remember the question. Hopefully this material will answer it. What does it mean when the skin turns certain colors? When you're, I don't know how to answer that question because I don't really know what you mean. If it's physical and everyone else could see it, then that might be a medical problem, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. If you see that while looking at people through the ether and their skin turns colors, you could be seeing their higher fractals of their divinity, like their higher self aspects who in other realms have different skin colors. So if you see their higher self, remember most of us aren't human. So you're not going to get, neutral skin tones. You normally will get blue. After an awakening experience, I started seeing violet swirls when I went into my third eye. That is still the case most of the time during meditation or night. Okay, that's not a question. There's nothing bad about that. During the day, I see my third eye with eyes closed as a golden disc. Oh, you went on. Okay. Yes, that's pretty normal. And recently I had an experience where I saw my third eye as a golden disc with swirls of all the colors of the rainbow around it. That's a full activation. Yeah, now you've gone into a deeper level there. Good. Does seeing all these colors mean my eyes are adapting to seeing in the ether? Yes. What can you tell me about seeing the third eye as a golden disc? It's something that the Raw Soul Group does, is what I can tell you. It's normal to your state of being. Okay. That's really, really good. That means you need to practice more in relation to visualizing gold. When you're doing these techniques, visualizing gold will be really helpful for you. When people first start to see their third eye as a disc, that's a Raw Soul Group technique. So keep doing it. It'll open up everything else, access to the Akasha, everything else. Use that disc, spin it around to the right when you visualize your eye as a disc, a golden disc, spin it to the right, whichever way it goes to you naturally. With most of the people in the Raw Soul Group, it'll go to the right, and just expand it. And there will be a tiny little hole in the middle of it. Set your intention to go through it, and you will be able to use that disc as a portal to get into your other lifetimes. There's a lot you can do with that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming to the class. It was a beautiful class. I enjoyed it so much. You want to come back and do it again next year? Feel free. But I think you got enough material for now. See you at the Akashic Records journey.